Hey everyone, it's Mr. Lentz coming to you again through the power of the internet. Today, we're going to talk about the race strategy, which is a writing strategy you guys can use when responding to writing prompts. And your answers are typically going to be a paragraph or even longer. You can actually use this strategy to kind of create a 5 paragraph essay and kind of like create a sandwich out of it. And I'm going to teach you all how to do that. So RACE first is an acronym, right? It's one word made up of like a whole bunch of other different words. So the R in RACE stands for restate. The A is your answer. The C is your citing text evidence, and your E is your explaining your text evidence. And the explain is really one of the most important parts about the race strategy because that's where your original thought comes in. But first, restate. What does that mean? So, when you're restating in the race strategy, what you're really doing is you're looking at your prompt and you're restating parts of the question or parts of the writing prompt. Now, does that mean to explicitly take the entire question and just rewrite it again in your writing? No, you don't want to do that. That's a lazy strategy. So, what you want to do instead is look at your writing prompt, figure out what are some of the key words and phrases that you think you should include in your answer. So let's go ahead and look at a writing prompt that I've got up. This is Taylor Molly's Next Stop. This is something I do with my English 1 kids. So we'll just use this as an example. So the prompt here says, at first, Taylor Molly's Next Stop may seem like a simple poem about a man looking out a subway train window. However, poets often use figurative language to give their work a deeper meaning. Identify the figurative language Molly uses and explain how it develops the central theme of the poem. So the task we can find by identifying the directive verb, the verb that tells you to do something, and in this case is to identify and to explain in this writing prompt. Okay, so you try to find the nouns that are connected to those directive verbs. So what are we identifying? We're identifying the figurative language. That might be a word that I might want to repeat in my race strategy answer, figurative language. What are we explaining? We're explaining the development of the central theme of the poem. So that's the noun that's connected to the directive verb explain. So central theme might be another thing that I want to include in the restate part of my race answer. And some other things that you guys could include, especially when you're referencing a text, you might want to reference the title and the author as well. Okay, so again, race strategy, restate. You are not going to restate the whole question, but you want to look for some of the important vocabulary in the prompt that you can include in your answer. Now, the A in race stands for answer. So this is really your claim. This is your thought. Okay, so for example, going back to this writing prompt, my answer for this writing prompt would be what I think the theme is, what I think the theme of the poem is. So, what's the central purpose, or what's the lesson that the text is teaching me? Okay. And then I'm going to talk about the types of figurative language that the author uses throughout. Okay. So, if you put your R and your A together, that creates really your thesis statement. Okay. And then what you guys can do is you can repeat the process of citing text evidence and explaining that text evidence over and over again, just with different pieces of evidence. And you can really make your answer a lot longer and a lot more in depth to really, really support the idea that you're going for. Now, C stands for cite. Cite means we're going to reference our text in some way. And you guys remember from seventh, sixth, fifth grade, fourth grade, that we can cite evidence several different ways. We can directly quote it, which means we take it word for word from the poem. We can paraphrase it, which means we reference ideas in the poem without stating it word for word, or we can summarize like a large section of the poem as well. Okay, you don't always have to quote when you're citing text evidence, so that's something that's important. to remember. And then finally, the E is the explain. So this is really where you guys really are going to write and you're going to show some original thought. And the whole point of explain is you're going to show how the evidence that you just provided supports your answer. Okay. So this is where you guys are going to really break down your text evidence. And you can really honestly go back and look at the directive verbs in your writing prompt. So explain means to kind of like break down, right? And identify means to kind of list, right? So we, in our answer, in some way, we're going to be listing the different types of figurative language or the different examples of figurative language that Molly uses to help create the theme. And then we're going to break those down and explain how it creates the lesson of the poem. Okay. And again, what you can do is you can do your RA and then you can do CE, CE, CE again. And the repeating that CE step kind of creates body paragraphs. Okay. So hopefully you found this helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I will see you all in the next one.